Welcome to Advanced Nurses. We connect with nurses who inspire other nurses by sharing their experiences. And so we're able to bring that information to you.
The number one issue or number one concern that a lot of nurses have when they take my course or when they transition is a, a decrease in pay. And so how I explain it to them is I explain to them, however many years you've been a nurse, what you make today, you didn't make it your first year out of nursing. And depending on what you go into, if you go into CDI, the average nurse, unless you're a travel nurse, you really shouldn't see a drastic decrease in pay. If anything, um, it could either be a lateral position or even an improvement, an increase in your salary, depending on where you work and where you live. So it doesn't have to necessarily be a decrease. I didn't when I transitioned, I didn't take a hit. I mean, now I took a hit because but in terms of staff positions, no. But agency, it was a little decrease, and I do mean little. It wasn't like it was like, oh my God, I have to eat peanut butter and crackers. It wasn't that. So I think that's another myth that a lot of nurses have, especially if they transition into CDI or auditing or one of the other specialties. It's just it's just you just don't take a hit. Because matter of fact, there's a position which is so interesting because like there were I think well I know it was New York, but there is another state that effective uh, this year, well now, they have to disclose the salary range for the positions that they post. So there's a position that is with the company Deloitte, and they have multiple locations. They have a location here in Philadelphia. They have a position in New York. So since they have a position in New York, they had to post a salary range. And it was for uh, an advisory consultant. You only had to have roughly like 3 to 4 years experience. The salary range was 90 to 160. So who's going to complain about that? Like pay cut where? You know? So I just believe that if more nurses were aware, I think that nurses should, when they transition, they should look into definitely CDI if you still like the clinical aspect, and if you want to move around, you could look into like data analysis. If you kind of just want to be, you know, disease process adjacent, but not really have to read, you could move into, well, not read medical records. You can go into data analysis, or you could even go into privacy and security if you have an interest in IT. It's like there's so many openings and so many pathways that's available.
Now, I'm so glad that you actually went through that because I feel like one of the things that you said that really struck me, stood out to me, is about that exposure, like nurses just not knowing. And this is really the area where I think most nurses suffer because there is one thing if this information that you did not learn when you were in nursing school, that's one thing and that's one issue. But then what happens now when you've been exposed to the information and you let fear cripple you to where you don't explore options? You hear a conversation like the one you're hearing now, and the first thing that comes to you is doubt and fear. If am I going to be able to survive? Well, the work that you're doing now at the bedside, it doesn't matter if they introduce a change in the EHR, if they introduce another tool, device, you always seem to figure out how to integrate that into your patient care. You do your patient teaching around whatever new device they're going home with. So think about it from the same place. There's going to be a learning curve, but your commitment to learning something new should be much greater than your fear of what is going to happen. Because See, my greatest concern is that we'll have such a huge divide within nursing that you'll have nurses who will tap into their creativity. They'll tap into having an open mind to learn something new. They'll tap into applying knowledge in areas to solve problems in healthcare. And you'll have a segment of nurses who will be forever glued to the bedside or forever glued to what I would say um, kind of the lower end as far as the salary range because of the fact that they've never really challenged themselves to take on new skills. We want to hear from you. Schedule a free consultation or send us an email at advancednurses@acd4n.com or visit our websites www.advancednurses.info or www.acd4n.com.